Do you find yourself getting random results even when the team follows your recipes? Not a misgarnish. I mean, like pastry that works one day and fails the next, or dressings that taste spot on one week and need constant adjustment the next. Sauces that break more than they should from the same method, or mise en place that runs out in the middle of the night for no particularly good reason. Now, the majority of the time, this is what I call a product chaos problem. And in this video, I'm going to explain what I mean and show you how you can fix it so that your systems and your people have a better chance at being consistent. Now, if we haven't met before, my name's Joe Ford. I'm a certified master chef, and I've spent almost 30 years working through kitchens in luxury hotels, private clubs, restaurants, and international competitions. Now, I work with executive chefs and culinary directors around the world to build kitchens that run on structure instead of constant heroics. Before we get into it, if this is already your kitchen, the first link below the video is where you can book a free 90-day kitchen reset call with me and get a 90-day change map. Either way, keep watching the video. In another video already produced on my channel called The Recipe for Consistency, I shared a simple formula. Consistency is controlled variables times clear standards times simple systems times feedback, all divided by your chaos load. Product chaos is a big chunk of that chaos load. If your ingredients are all over the place, no amount of training or yelling or effort is going to save anybody. So let's define it. Product chaos is all the noise surrounding the raw product that enters the operation. And if left unchecked, it creates chaos in how recipes work or don't, how formulas function, and how that product behaves in production. Now, here are some examples. Dairy. 1 week you get heavy cream at 36% fat, which is the legal lower minimum, and that can vary all the way up to 44%. However, 40% is most typical in the United States for commercial heavy cream. Ganache, mousses, and sauces don't set or mount the same way with varying fat contents like that. Your pastry chef likely knows this, but if the pastry cooks don't and it's never been explained to them this way, the impact is going to be obvious in the end result. However, the cause likely is unknown. Unknown, the team can do everything right and it's still going to fall short, likely unbeknownst. Maybe it's flour, different protein levels on your bread flour because purchasing bounce between vendors on price, dough strength, proof times, and even oven spring all have a negative change. Even though the formula and the method didn't, it's going to have its impact. Maybe it's with center of the plate proteins, steaks or chops coming in different thicknesses, eye size, or average piece weights from week to week. All of those things cause impactful changes in ticket times, storage, and in doneness. From the outside, we're often called inconsistent as a team, but underneath, the building blocks of the recipe changed because the results of those ingredients are no longer predictable. You can't get consistent output from inconsistent inputs, and that's why we call this product chaos. So now, how do you start cutting product chaos down to size? First, you gotta lock the specs on the things that matter most, and I'd like to start by prioritizing. First, the most expensive proteins. Second, the typically most volatile ingredients, and then third, the base stuff that always has an impact further downstream in production. You don't need to spec every single carrot in the building at first. You're going to find that you might want to. You do need to look at what drives guest experience and chaos load risk early. So let's start with a top 20 items by either spend or importance. Primary proteins, based on cost, based on need, beef, lamb, fish. Next, your key flours, your key dairy, and your key fats, especially for that pastry environment. And then look at your core cheeses, your stocks, your wines, your oils, and your produce items that anchor the menu. The difference between extra dry vermouth and dry vermouth is remarkable. And if that's a foundation for recipes, the end result will be varied tremendously at the end of the process. So for each, we need to define a brand or brands that we can get from. Then we need to define cut, style, average weight, the diameter, whatever sizing information is going to lead to better purchasing decisions, or trim style. We need to define fat content or protein content where it's relevant. Probably going to need to have a range, but you want to narrow that range as much as possible so that you can control, again, the outcome. And then work on pack size, because that leads to helping runouts or misorders. If people are ordering by the case and the case count changes, leads to shorts. You want to also list acceptable alternates if the main spec is truly unavailable. Then, once all that's done, you share the spec with purchasing, share it with your vendors, and walk through with your leadership so that everybody is on the same page of the brands, of the specs, and where this list lives so that this can perpetuate itself. Now, when something is off, you have another control point for resolution. You can work up the food chain, and at the end of the day, if nothing else has an answer, you can come back to it. We noticed that this cream isn't the typical spec that we buy. Or, did you guys know that the C-size Yukon Golds take 40% longer to peel by the case? That allows you cooks to flag product issues when they recognize that product size is off, brand is off, or fat count is off. Again, pre-approved, it allows them to make decisions on your behalf as soon as they're realized, instead of you dealing with a failed outcome or a terrible review long after the product comes in the house and has done its damage. The next step from there, stabilize ordering and revisit par levels. Take all this information and build the next layer and control how product flows in. That's basically meant to control your people problems, keeping different people from placing different orders on different days at different times with different vendors. You can eliminate a lot of nonsense by having that defined. You can also clearly define par levels, which, especially if they live in someone's head in a really rough kind of way and not on paper anywhere, that needs to get fixed. You also want to build in buffers that are, I also found that there was a tremendous amount of chaos that comes from the buffers that people add on based on estimates and fear of running out, but not actually having data. For those critical items, those same top 20 that we talked about above, give or take a few, refine who owns the ordering of each product in the category. Maybe it's divided by proteins, maybe it's divided by produce, maybe it's divided by broadliner. But the more you can dedicate a person to a category, the more you have a person that you can set up for success, and you have a place to go if something is off. One owner per category. Somebody can own multiple categories, but just make sure that the owner is clearly defined. With that person, agree and set simple pars and the buffers based on actual usage and sales. Then, let it play out. Pay attention, run regular checks on how that par list is working, how those order times are working, and if there's any issues in there, track the movement of the par and tweak as necessary. Pay attention. Talk to the team. Are we running out of something? Are we over-ordering? Is there waste that's getting created or generated because of the way that that ordering is taking place? Then adjust and tighten those pars so that ordering can become more consistent. And it becomes a part of that consistency system as opposed to being something that you have to respond to as part of your daily fire drills. If this is resonating with you and you're seeing this in your own kitchen, recipe fails, inconsistent raw product coming in and leaving it through your kitchen, take these pieces and implement. If you want to go a little bit further, click below and schedule a 90-day kitchen reset call with me, and let's build a plan to lock in what's working for you, simplifies what doesn't, and stabilize whatever chaos you may have, be it people, product, or leadership. The link to schedule is the first one below in the description. Pause the video, grab a time that works, and then continue finishing up the video. So let's wrap this up by going back to that formula. Consistency. It's controlled variables times your clear standards times your simple system multiplied by your feedback. Again, divided by the chaos load. The more you reduce the chaos load, the more whatever system's in place can have their impact. Today, we're only touching on one part, the controlled variables on that product side. If you tighten specs on key ingredients and who orders what, when, and in what quantity, you lower your product chaos load significantly. In some cases by up to 80%. That makes everything else you build, your standards, your checklists, your training, suddenly that much more effective. So here's the step-by-step to action from this video. First, make a top 20 list of key items by importance or spend. Second, lock in the specs for those items on paper and share them. Third, assign one owner for each category of ordering and get that order deadline locked in and set with phone alarms so that it's taking place and happening when it's supposed to. Now, if this was useful to you, be sure to like and share the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more content designed for chefs to help them lead beyond the food. Thank you for watching the video. And if you haven't already, check out the 90-day kitchen reset video linked up on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you there.